to heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in Kate. Kate, good to see you this evening. Not good to hear you this evening, apparently, but it's good to see you this evening.
I said, oh, Derek, it just warms my heart to see you and all the tuners.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah. This is season 3, right?
This is season 4.
Oh, my God.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We're starting season 4.
This is episode 145.
Are you kidding me?
No,
wow. Bring in the rest of the gang so we can talk about this.
I never joke about my work, 007. So let's have Pete. Pete, gotta have you with us.
Odele yo.
What?
I don't even know how they said that in the movie
Odele?
after. Odele.
Pete needs to be cut off already, apparently, and we just started the show.
I haven't drunk anything. Yeah, I'm super happy to see you guys. It's been almost a month, so
yeah. And we got the band back together. We got Steve with us tonight.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Season. I hope everyone's New Year is going at least okay. And if it's not, I hope it gets better.
Amen.
Guys, if you've not already, please like, subscribe, share. As I said, we are in starting season 4. This is episode 145. I wouldn't have thought that we would have, still been chugging along 4 years ago, but here we are, and I think it's going well.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, to start this year, we decided to jump back into the vault, and we're going to look at, it is the 50th anniversary of Robin Hood. Robin Hood, or this last fall was, so I still count it. If you're in the Disney year, I'd still have like another year to count it.
Yeah, you got like 18 months, so yeah.
Yeah, so look at the 1973's Robin Hood, the animated adaptation with the foxes and all the different animals playing the different characters. And it follows the Robin Hood myth semi-closely. It has the same basic characters. And you got the Sheriff of Nottingham, you've got Prince John, you got Maid Marian, you got Friar Tuck, Little John. But it's all animals and it's all animated. So I'm going to start with you, Pete, on this one. What is royally good about this adaptation of Peter Pan, Robin Hood?
So I was nervous about watching this because we did watch Sword in the Stone, which was actually like 10 years before this. So I don't know why I kind of grouped it in the same group. This is Sword in the Stone Walt was still around. This is a post-Walt movie. I consider this era here post-Walt, pre-Katzenberg, where a lot of the movies were not very good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed this movie. I really did. And the thing I liked best about it were what Walt would have called the gags. I thought there was a lot of really funny, entertaining sight gags in this movie. And enough scenes of action taking place and things like that it kept me relatively interested. I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed some of the characters. I really enjoyed Robin Hood and Little John.
Yeah, exactly.
And Maid Marian. I liked some of those main characters a lot. And Sir Hiss, I think it was called, right? The snake.
Yes, Sir Hiss.
So I there was quite a bit to like about this movie. But I'll leave Steve to have some additional comments. And the rest of you, I guess.
Actually, you hit a lot of my points. One of my favorite characters was Sir Hiss. Like especially in the one scene where he gets grumpy and goes to his basket, and it looks like he's folding his arms.
And he folds his arms. Yes. And just his shoulders there. Yes.
Yes. I remember seeing this in the theaters when I was a kid, like the second release, because I guess it came out in 73 and they put it in the theaters again. So I remember my parents taking it. I enjoyed watching it. I mean, I have a vivid memory of seeing Sir John, or whatever, Prince John sucking his thumb. I vividly remember seeing that as a kid. I liked a lot of the sight gags. It was nice that my high school fight song on Wisconsin, that's one we used, was part of the movie. So when that pops up, bring up that overall. And it, for the most part, had a plot much better than Sword in the Stone. I mean, somewhat little plot. What about you, Derek?
There were definitely parts of this I really enjoyed. I mean, as far as sight gags, you could tell Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston were a huge part of the directing of this because it had their sight gags. Which, if you guys could actually find a copy of their book, Too Funny for Words, where they basically go through and discuss all the different sight gags in all the old Disney movies, it's worth a read. It is definitely worth a read because then they show all the pictures of the sight gags and explain why they work. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Disney does action very, very well, especially in this era. Disney did different action sequences and song sequences very well. Think I Want to Be Like You from Jungle Book felt a lot like Phony King of England, that scene. Are there issues with this? Yes. But overall, I remember really enjoying this as a kid. I remember watching this not in theaters, but we definitely had the VHS of this, and it was definitely on the regular rotation in our house.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure I saw this as a kid. I don't think I ever watched it. Like a lot of Disney movies we revisited with my daughter. She said she's seen it and she sat and watched it with us. But I don't remember seeing this in the last 30 years. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there are definitely scenes. I mean, the scene of the clothesline of the different money bags definitely sticks with me. This is a great visually funny movie.
Yep.
Kate, what was good?
So I was nervous because I remember when we watched Sword in the Stone that I was so disappointed. Like, it wasn't what I was remembering. And I was like, I know I didn't watch this movie all that long ago, but I don't want to be let down. Like, please don't let me down. And I can say that it did not. Of course, there are things that we'll talk about, but this movie on more than one occasion made me laugh out loud. My sweet husband has COVID right now, so he's in another room, and he kept laughing because he kept hearing me just cackle. You are 100% right. So the characters that I actually resonated most with, that are my favorite characters, are the
little bunnies.
That was a tough prediction.
I went out on a limb there on that one. It was either that or Toby, but yeah.
And the turtle. Oh my god.
Okay. Yep.
Oh my god. I just love them so much. They could do a whole movie just about them, and it would probably be one of my favorite. It's so good. But just the animation was so good. The physical comedy in the animation, in my opinion, was just so good. How Robin Hood was such a his physical comedy and the way that he morphed into like the archer and the blind woman. Excuse me. Little John. I love the voice acting. Little John, immediately I was like, I know that voice.
Yes,
Why do I know
that voice?
It's Baloo.
And Baloo. Right.
And Thomas O'Malley
and
Baloo
Baloo.
too, yeah.
And so then I just like swan dove down the rabbit hole of who else these actors, what other things they voiced. it's just so good. Like every character, even the villains, even Prince John and not Friar Tuck,
Sheriff and
Sheriff. Even them, like, yes, they're villains and you love to hate them, but also like they're also so endearing, and you just I really, if I ever have a child, this is a movie. I probably won't pull out Sword in the Stone. I probably won't pull out like Peter Pan. I will have them watch this movie.
Okay, Kate, Sheriff of Nottingham. I'm not going to give you the first shot at this. What other movie have you definitely heard him in?
Well, you can't ask me that because I looked it all up.
Okay.
So
Steve,
ask
you know what,
those two.
you know what I'm thinking of?
Oh.
You have definitely heard and seen him.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, my other half looked up and was telling me all the voice actors, like what, like sitcoms. I know there's like Bewitched. There is the Andy Griffith Show. Like he was going through.
But I'm thinking of a very specific movie, and Pete probably knows where I'm going with this one. I have a feeling.
I don't know. I mean, I think the person you're thinking of is I think of as like Green Acres and that he's in, but
yeah,
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
He is one of the 3 old prospectors in Back to the Future 3. You're a coward.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
He and Strother Martin, and I can never remember the third guy's name, but those 3 are like super old West actors that they stuck in there just because they could. But you're right, Steve. I mean, the voice acting, everyone was, just about everyone had done old Disney stuff. The Mother Rabbit and the female church mouse was the same gal who did Merriweather, was the same gal who did Lady, was the same lady. I mean, she was one of the Disney regulars.
Yeah.
Yes, Kate.
I was just going to say, before we move on to the next section, that I quote this movie. There are 2 lines from this movie that I quote regularly. And one of them is when the little bunny and he goes, "That mean Mr. Sheriff stole my birthday present." I quote that all the time, especially on my birthday. And then when the chicken or the hen lady, she goes,
Lady
"Oh,
Cluck.
mercy. Oh, mercy." Is when she pretends that, "Oh, mercy." And I quote that all the time. So this movie, I really enjoyed this movie.
Okay. Now, this is not a perfect movie. So, Steve, what about this should have been arrested by the sheriff of Nottingham? What about
so
this
I have
really worked?
2 main things
Yeah,
that really bothered me.
I wonder if
What's that?
Same you.
The first one was the combination of the American Southern accent with the English accents, like
with Alan Adale.
Yes, like you have this and then you have this. Like, where are you going? Isn't this supposed to be happening in England, since we saw a map of England in the movie? And then the other thing is, really, if you're a Disney fan, it's seeing the reused animation. It sort of just stands out.
Yes, it does.
Like, majorly stands out. And those are the biggest 2 things. I mean, I did enjoy watching this time to see how many I could really pick out. Because, I mean, some of them come pretty quick. It's like a short little snippet, but it's like, okay, that's from there. That's from there.
Especially in the phony King of England sequence. I mean, Maid Marian dancing is exactly the same as Snow White dancing with Dopey and Snow White. There's a lot of Baloo in.
Totally, yes.
And Disney did that a lot. A lot of Disney dancing sequences, you will notice, are the same because they did the rotoscoping.
Yeah, it really is fascinating. You can look it up on YouTube. Look up that sequence, and they do a complete side by side. And yeah, it's half Snow White, half Jungle Book, and there's something else too. There's a third movie I can't remember.
Aristocats.
There's
Aristocats is also in there.
Aristocats uses the same dancing moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Derek, you might know this though. I was reading the director of this. I can't remember his name right now.
Wolfgang.
Yes, I've heard two things. Is I've read that he did it just because he liked it. He was happy with the visuals. He knows what he wanted. And then the other thing I've heard was it was partly due to budget cuts. Do you know which side of that is the truer side?
I have seen that it's more. It was done for expediency and budget rather than it's what he liked. Which is a lot of the reason they did a lot of it in the different movies is because what it would be is that you would have characters, they would have literally a video of someone dancing, and frame by frame, they would essentially draw the character over the top of the person, is how that would work. So it was much more the budget cuts and the to get things done fast. They would do that.
I don't think it's something that a child would notice, though. Really,
no, not at all. But we're not children. Sorry, Kate, we're not children. So, for me, the biggest issue was how uneven this movie was. There were definitely parts of this that were great. There were parts of this that put me to sleep, to be perfectly honest. As I said, Disney does action sequences very, very well. Disney does songs very, very well, especially up-tempo songs very, very well. I will say the scene in Prince John's backyard got a little long. I mean, it's for what it is, it's a good scene. And I didn't think that a lot when I was younger, but watching it now, there was it was the up and downs of, yes, this is holding my attention, and oh my gosh, now I need a nap. Like, I literally fell asleep twice watching this movie. I had to stop it and back it up. But now, I remember enjoying it as a kid. I do. But I also remember zoning out on certain parts. The love song between Robin Hood and Maid Marian, a little long. The whole setup of Friar Tuck, a little long. So it's just, it doesn't move as quickly as it necessarily should have. I think it's on Disney, it was an hour 25. I'm guessing it's an hour 23 or something along those lines without the foreign language credits. So it was an 85-minute show. It should have been a 75-minute show. So, Kate, what didn't work for you?
I agree, 100%. I will say I feel like this movie comes out strong. That the first 30 to 45 minutes ish are very strong. It just gag after gag, just great all the way through, like the whole part with the little kids and the archery tournament, and then you kind of get to the love song, and it does it lulls.
And then it tries to come back up for the Prince John song. And then it crashes until minutes.
I will say though, I think the good outweighs the bad, in my opinion. The parts that are good are so good that it makes up for, because like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I did zone out there. Yeah. But because I was still thinking back on how I laughed out loud at something that Hiss said. Like, yeah. So I don't have a lot negative to say. I will say I'm super glad that this movie held up in appropriateness. That there wasn't like blatant sexism or racism. There really wasn't.
No.
And I was nervous about that because I was like, please don't ruin this movie for me. So that is good. So I have way more good to say than bad. But yes, there are parts that are just that drag. Go ahead, Pete.
So I'm a little bit of all of you. The country bumpkin dialects really didn't, like, this is a Robin Hood story, right? So to me, we should be telling a Robin Hood story. So some of my comments are gonna be nitpicks, but that's one of them. It shouldn't be like Robin Hood and Beverly Hillbillies combined. I think I completely agree with what you said, Kate. And the same thing, like we recently watched Sword in the Stone. That movie felt like it was maybe 50 minutes of filler. This movie was more like 20. Like it would like there were some slow parts that could have been trimmed, but for the most part, it worked. For the most part, it was paced well, and you didn't really feel like too often. There wasn't extended periods where I was like, oh, can this end, please? So that's good. The other thing that kind of annoyed me, though, again, Robin Hood and his merry men. In this case, it was Robin Hood and his merry man. He only had Little John. Even Friar Tuck wasn't part of his entourage or anything like that. And I realized that was probably also partly due to the saving on animation. But there was a lot of characters in this movie, and a lot. I mean, all the archers and the wolves and the vultures and everything like that. It's like you couldn't have given him a party of 5 or 6 people, and like that's Robin Hood to me. Is he's kind of got a group of people. Will Scarlet and I'm trying to think who else is in the group, but and then the last thing. This is this is probably just me. Was anyone else disturbed by the lady Cluck having cleavage? Because like roosters shouldn't have cleavage. They're not mammals.
He's not a rooster.
Well, chicken. I'm sorry. Chicken shouldn't have cleavage.
Would have been a rooster.
Yeah, chicken shouldn't have cleavage. I was just kind of disturbed by that. I don't know why they drew a cleavage line, and I was like, wait a second. She shouldn't be bosomy. Okay.
I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought of it. It just worked with the character to me.
She's a chicken.
Mercy. Oh, mercy.
No, it did work with the character. It was just one thing I noticed is like,
but Clara,
why that choice?
Clara Cluck in like the old like Wise Little Hen and all this stuff.
I know,
had a cleavage line. I mean,
no,
that's how you know she's a female chicken.
Our show's supposed to be funny, isn't it? Can't I make jokes? Come on.
No, this isn't supposed to be funny.
Okay, I'll be more serious.
No joking for you. No, I agree with you though, Pete. I hadn't thought about it. It's funny.
To me though, one of the best parts was, the little kid not wanting to kiss, and Maid Marian said, "Well, if you won't, then I will." And him rubbing it off.
Yes.
So,
oh God, those little kids. Oh, my heart.
This was during the time period that Disney tried to get away from humans. They told this story without humans, and instead they used animals. Now, I will say, luckily, this was originally announced to have a live action adaptation back in 2000, and nobody has said anything about it since. So please, yeah. Like think like Lion King, like it would all be CGI. So, please,
oh Lord, no, please, no.
I know. Is there, and I'm not talking a Disney story, is there another story out there that everyone knows as a human story? Think this one, they've known Errol Flynn. Recently, they've known Kevin Costner. They've known an actual British guy in Cary Elwes. Which was probably the best adaptation of the whole story. But, so, by the way, if you've not seen Cary Elwes in Robin Hood, go watch that version.
You're talking about Men in Tights?
Yes, I am talking about Men in Tights.
Okay.
Is there another story out there that has been done as with humans that would work with animals? Kate, I'll let you start.
Okay. So the thing that comes to mind, it's not a movie, and it's sort of a story, and I don't know if it would work or not, but Zorro.
Okay, you'd literally have a fox. Yeah. You would literally, I mean, I could see, literally having a fox there. Who would be the antagonist on that one then? Who would be the Spanish counts or whatever?
It'd be like a coyote, wouldn't it?
Or a weasel.
Weasel. You could even do like.
I don't know.
I mean, I can see that.
Because you could even have a big bear. You know the larger gentleman who got poked fun of a lot.
Garcia.
Oh yeah, Sergeant Garcia. Yeah.
Yeah, you could even have him be like a Sheriff
bear.
Nottingham type character, that build, or even like a blue style.
It's the same character, but anyway.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, that was really one of the only like stories that I could think of. So, Pete, what about you?
Oh, I racked my brain over this, and I couldn't think of something that I would really want to see as like a human story that redone with animals. So I'm going to pass and move it on to Steve.
Oh, I keep on thinking, like, what first came to my mind was Muppets Treasure Island. And then I was thinking what stories, and I just thought of maybe the Three Musketeers.
Okay.
But I don't know what animals would fit where or what that would look like. But I'm trying to think what classic tale that everyone knows pretty well that they could use animals for.
You could have the Three Caballeros.
As the Three Musketeers, okay, that could possibly work.
Or even Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
No.
Oh, no. Okay, then who's your fourth? Who's D'Artagnan in that?
Webby.
If you've got the three.
Launchpad McQuack.
No, Webby.
No.
You remember Webby?
Oh no.
Webby's a girl?
Yeah, Webby's a girl.
That's right.
Yes.
But she was
sister.
the fourth.
Oh my gosh, that doesn't work as D'Artagnan. Oh my gosh, that doesn't work as the hornball that D'Artagnan is. For me, I really struggled with this one. Because you've got a lot of old stories being done by other things already. And even not so old stories being done by other things lately. I think to me, it would have to be you couldn't use current Disney intellectual property would be what I would say, though. You can't have it be Mickey, Goofy, and Donald as the Three Musketeers. They've done that, and it really did not work. Because you have to have the characters have their own personalities. I think if you try and force any kind of intellectual properties on a current story, it wouldn't work. Now, I think the Three Caballeros might be the exception as the Three Musketeers, because having directed an actual play version of the Three Musketeers, you could see Pancho and Donald and Jose as Porthos, Athos, and Aramis, because there are different personality types there. But I don't think it would work. I honestly don't know that this works as animals, to be perfectly honest. It's a struggle to me, because yes, you think only the fact that he keeps saying you're Robin Hood. Oh, by the way, you're Robin Hood. Oh, by the way, you're Robin Hood. They keep saying the names so often so you remember who it's supposed to be. That tells me it doesn't necessarily truly work for you to believe that those are those characters. So that's my hesitation.
Yeah, I was okay though with this movie being animated animal anthropomorphic animals. I thought it worked all right. I mean,
it did.
Yeah,
it did.
I mean,
yeah. So, okay, as we always do, we do cups of pixie dust out of 5 on any movies or series or seasons of series that we do. Kate, I'm going to start with you. Cups of pixie dust out of 5 for Robin Hood.
I'm going to give it a 4.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. The parts that I loved of this movie are just so good. So
I'm going to give it a 3. I'm giving this a positive rating. I did enjoy it. Not one I would necessarily go back to a lot, but like, if my wife said, "Hey, we haven't watched that in a while," I would go, "Yeah, I'll watch that again." So, yeah, 3. Steve
and Pete, I'm just like you for the same reasons. I liked it. I didn't really like it, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. And A 3. And if it came up again, I'd probably sit down and watch at least part of it. I mean, might go in and out of the room, but a solid 3.
Yeah, and I'm right there. I'm a solid 3 also. So it's, as a kid, I probably would have given this a 3.5 or a 4. But as an adult, it's a solid 3. I'm like you, Steve. If it would ever be on TV, it'd probably be one I'd stop on. Just, I mean, unless there was something else I was really wanting to watch. It's one of those, yeah, I'll watch Rob. Although a lot of it to me would depend on where they are in the story. If they're in the archery tournament or if they're in the jailbreak of Friar Tuck, probably I'd stop and watch it. If they're in that middle section between those two, probably not.
The love song? Nope. Moving on.
If any of those baby bunnies are on the television, I'm dropping everything that I'm doing and watching
Even if
it.
it's just them being fed by their mother in jail.
Yes.
All
Oh my
right.
God. I just, oh, so good.
Okay. All right, Kate, since we've been gone for a month, we have a ton.
There's so much.
news. What do we got this?
Oh my gosh, there's so much Disney Plus news. So, first up, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red are going to be coming to theaters this spring. These movies were all released in the pandemic, and this will be their first time in theaters. You know, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I guess it's good that they're going to get a shot, but I just don't know if it's worth it.
I think it's a low cost. This is going to cost Disney practically nothing other than theater rental. So it's there's no cost to them, and no one else is putting anything out there.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
That's fair.
that's my thought on this. Is they're not going to lose. They can only gain money by this.
Okay, that's fair. Next up, The Mandalorian and Grogu has been announced as a movie that will be in the continuation or conclusion of that story arc. This movie will film this year. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean-
So a little bit of interesting behind that. They actually had finished writing a season 4 of The Mandalorian. Scripts were all ready to go before the writers' strike. Apparently, they were scrapping those scripts, and we don't know if they're going to incorporate some of that story into this movie or not. But there is. So the answer to is there still going to be a season 4 of Mandalorian is no.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Next up, Disney has announced that Ahsoka will be getting a season 2. This
Yay
season
for one of us.
will also start filming in 2024.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Sure.
right.
Sure. I want to know how they're going to make that when she's in a completely different galaxy. I hope they either stick with her or stick with Ezra. I hope they don't keep bouncing back and forth between the two and make them unite up at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid that's what's going to happen is it's going to be getting Ahsoka back to the galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
So-
that's kind of what they set up, right? It's almost got to be that. But
I got motion sick just reading this next one. But next up, Disney will be working with Apple to release 3D versions of their movies when Apple releases its new VR headset. Included are Endgame, The Force Awakens, and Encanto.
And more will be coming.
And more will be coming, and that just makes me just
Tink.
sorry. My phone rang. I didn't expect it to ring. It's weird. Anyway, moving right along. The Marvels is now available for purchase on digital platforms. It will be available on physical media February 13th and will hit Disney Plus after that. Once we have a release date, we'll let you know.
And once we have a release date, we'll review it.
And once we have a release date, we'll review it.
Yay.
Wish is being released on for purchase on digital on January 23rd. It will be available on DVD and Blu-ray March 12th. So the Disney Plus release will likely be after that. I've heard good things about Wish.
Oh, I've heard horrid things about
Oh,
it.
really? Oh, I've heard it's good.
Oh, I've heard it
Well,
tries, but
Has anyone seen it?
I've heard very mixed. I've heard people liked it a lot, people hated it. All I want to say is I'm glad to see Disney is going back to this model where movies take time to come out onto streaming.
Yes.
Because I think they did themselves a disservice. Their biggest problem with why movies like Wish have flopped in theaters is because people expect them to be on streaming in a month.
That's
and
fair. Yeah.
why bother? So I'm glad to see them going back to a 3-month window for digital release and a maybe 4 or 5 months to streaming. So I'm fine with waiting.
All right. And last but certainly not least, multiple Walt Disney World offers are being made for Disney Plus subscribers. The latest is a free dining plan offer when making a non-discounted 4-day, 4-night reservation beginning July 1st. The park reservation must include a room at a Disney hotel and a park hopper ticket. Deluxe hotels will get the normal dining plan, and moderate and value hotels will receive the quick service plan.
And no DVC members can book on DVC and book this.
What's the point of this?
To try and get more people to show up after July 1st, because because people are saving money by the free dining plan when they don't realize they're paying full price for the rooms, which is the price of the dining plan. But
yeah, depending on how many you have in a room, it can be a better savings than a 25% off room offer. But yeah, it's it's interesting that they're just offering it to Disney Plus subscribers, though. So that's kind of an interesting carrot they're putting out there. A lot of people love the free dining, so
maybe it's to get people to sign up for Disney Plus for a few months.
That would be my guess, because it's not like the parks are hurting for guests.
I know it worked for Peacock this last weekend, so
sure did. Sure did. That
give me one little thing that you have to subscribe to this for, and you might stick around for more than a month. Yeah, right. Anyway,
that -4 Chiefs game.
Did you have to pay for that? Like you had to subscribe to Peacock?
No, you had to have you had to have Peacock. You had to pay for the streaming service, which I already pay for.
Which, if you have a cable subscription, usually could have gotten you the Chiefs game, or if you have a satellite subscription, could have gotten you that football game.
Yeah, we have Peacock, so
yeah, so do we. So
all right, that's it for Disney Plus news.
Yeah. So, guys, next week we are finishing the Behind the Attraction season 2. It's episodes 4, 5, and 6.
I haven't watched them yet. I've been kind of waiting until
either. She has watched at least one of them. I know. She's watched at least the Nighttime Spectacular one. Steve, have you watched them?
I've watched the food one.
Okay, so it's food, nighttime, and Epcot, I think, isn't it? Or in whatever order that is.
Right.
So
none of them are ride specific, unlike the first 3, which were each ride specific.
Right.
So yeah.
So okay. Well, I said it'll be interesting to watch those. I haven't watched any of them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's even a chance someone from this platoon may appear in one of them, perchance. So, although we don't think so at the moment, am I correct?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. So, guys, we've got a lot of openings coming up. If you have any suggestions, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. We need your suggestions. There's not much coming out this spring because nothing happened in the fall.
Writer strike.
Right between the writers and actors.
Actor strike.
Everything. So, we'll love diving back into the vault. But if there's something, hey, I remember watching this that I really want you guys to talk about, let us know. And if you want to be on, we'll have you come on and defend it. If it's not that great. So, guys, we are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere at Plus Platoon. We have new episodes every Thursday on YouTube and all the main podcasting services. For Kate, Pete, Steve, Gina in the background, thank you so much for being a part of season 4 with us, and we will see everyone next week. Bye, guys.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at +Platoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.